Captains, welcome aboard the Tier 5 Tech Tree American Destroyer, the Mahan. I am your host, USS Endeavor, and welcome aboard. We are going to be taking a look at it, the stats, everything from the ground up. You're going to find that a lot of what the Mahan offers you've already seen with the Farragut, with the tier below. It's just got a little bit more that makes it just slightly better. So let's look at the commander first, which we have William Halsey. Nothing new here. It's the exact same build that we've used on the Farragut, with his base trait increasing the AP shell damage. Our two inspirations. First, we have Philippe Abineu, which is also increasing the HE shell damage. So both Halsey and Abineu help with both shell characteristic types. Our next inspiration is Swirsky, which for all intents and purposes could be Bay. They both offer the exact same skill. Now that Bay has gotten a slight nerf, they both reduce the seed detectability range. I just have Swirsky for this build. Our four perks, the first being Observant Rage, which does nerf your rudder shift time, but helps with your detectability with torpedoes and the main battery reload. Next is Mortar. Again, a little bit of a hit to your detectability, and that's why we're using Swirsky to negate that, but your AP and HE shell damage is increased. Twist and Track, which helps with the turret rotation, and a bearing locator that gives the closest enemy ship to your relative position. And then last, we have Smoke on the Water, which just helps boost the smoke, which is a big strong point of all of the American DDs. Lastly, our legendary perk is Unstoppable, because if your engine gets knocked out, you want to be able to still maneuver. So that's what we have. We're now at Tier 5, which means we have two slots that we can use. The first being Aiming Systems Mod 1, which is the exact same for the Farragut, helping with your main battery dispersion, making that tighter grouping with a traverse speed boost. Second, we are boosting the acceleration by 50% to get us up to speed half as fast, which is really, really useful for destroyers. As you're going to see, the maneuverability is already good. Your consumables, if you've been watching this series, is not all different from even the Clemson. It has long duration smokes, which is really the strongest suit of this, really giving you long duration concealment, which is a perk. And then the second being your engine boost, which is kind of a standard engine boost. It gets a plus 8% to your top speed. You have a little bit more health points than the Farragut. All of these stats are going to be very similar, where the Mahan just gets a slight increase in almost every category. So moving on to the artillery, the exact same guns, the exact same amount of guns, the exact same 180-degree turn time, the same shell damage, fire chance, and AP shell damage. What's different here is the reload time has been reduced by 0.3 seconds. That's the only difference between Mahan and Farragut, which is why Farragut at Tier 4 is so strong. If I had to single out the biggest difference between the Farragut and Mahan, it would be this, the torpedoes. You have 12 of them, but they're in a unique lineup, which I have pictured here. You have 4 on either side, which can only be fired from the port and starboard side. However, the center line can be fired from either. So it allows you to get 8 torpedoes off on one side and then shift and then get your remaining 4 off the other side. With a 6.4 kilometer range and a 64 knot speed. We do not face a carrier in this match. However, I just wanted to point out the difference between the Mahan and the Farragut. There is none. It has the exact same AA defense. Moving on to the maneuverability. Again, it's pretty much the exact same. Same turning circle radius, same rudder shift time, and the max speed is practically the same. Which, please don't hear me say that any of these stats are bad. They're really good. It's just the Mahan, I guess if there's a downside, is at a higher tier. Lastly, looking at the concealment, we have a 6.5 kilometer detectability range by sea, which is not the best. It's not the lowest, but you're a gunboat, and that's where you suffer a little bit. The detectability while firing in smoke is something you need to keep in mind as well, which is at 2.5 clicks, and detectability range by air is 3.5 kilometers. And all of these are slightly worse than the Farragut. On to my individual ship stats. Yes, I have a 78% win rate. I've got just under 70 battles in her. She is a very strong boat. The American DD line, when you know how to play it right, you can really carry some games. And we're going to showcase the armor next. I've highlighted the entire hull of the ship, which sits at 16 millimeters of armor. And what's significant about this is that it can bounce 203 shells that are AP at this tier, which a lot of cruisers at this tier will have, or lower. So if they're shooting you with AP, you can bounce them if angled correctly. So we're getting right on in here in the action, and the map that we are on is Shatter. And what's interesting is that this is the condensed version of the map, not the high tier big map that probably most people are used to. This is the lower tier version. It's the exact same map, just condensed down to 3 capture points. Charlie is the one that is kind of in the collection of all those islands that look shattered, which I'm guessing where it got its name. And we are in a carrier match. So what I did is I turned off my AA. The reason for that is because as carriers are concerned, they can spot me when my AA starts to go off before I'm detected visually. And an experienced carrier captain will key in on that AA to be able to locate you much easier, which is one of the perks that Wargaming fixed in order to allow the destroyers a little bit of an easier time with their concealment. So the AA on this ship, on the Mahan, starts to go off once planes are within 5 kilometers of my ship. However, I am not detected until at 3.5 kilometers. So for that 1.5 kilometer buffer, it can give me the time that I need in order to either smoke up to lower my detection or simply evade if I can. Now, an experienced carrier player, if they want to spot you, sometimes there's just nothing you can do. Here we're coming all the way over here on the left-hand side, and we are spotted visually. So, has to be a destroyer that is on this side, and I am continuing to move closer and closer, and here the Wesser's torpedo planes are coming right in after me, and so I am going nose in and turning in slightly, and as I do so, the destroyer pops up, and now it is time to showcase why the Mahan, being a gunboat destroyer, is so deadly at this range. And chiming in, the Akatsuki, who is a tier above us, has really devastating torpedoes. However, he threw them on my last known, and because I'm backing up, all of those are going to miss. He ends up dropping spot, gets briefly spotted again past the smoke, so somebody else is spotting him. Now I'm trying to just blind fire him, and unfortunately we're not able to get him. But he is really low, and now that we're on our smoke screen, we're going to take advantage of that by shooting at the Fuso, who we start a fire, and then he immediately puts it out. And against other ships that have a higher fire chance, I would say that is an absolute mistake. However, the Mahan's fire chance is only 5%, so there is a chance that we could not start another fire, even with these fast-firing guns that reload in just under 4 seconds. And then the Akatsuki pops back up again. I can only assume that it was from a plane or from the cruiser that's off my left. In either case, we take him down. So as that has happened, I always try to reassess what are my options, what is the next play. Now that the threat of the destroyer is gone, the Wesser is my next biggest threat. And although his bombing planes only throw AP and will not do as much damage, they are a tool in which he can use to spot me. And I don't need that. I don't like that. Here, I believe the Wesser is spotting me, and our guns are doing really good work against him. And our cruiser player, who is next to us, is also shooting at him. But these next couple shots, I'm able to take him down for the second kill. And now we are in the cap. And again, after every engagement, always reassess. Look at the map, look at the ships around you, which is what I'm doing here. You have the Dallas, which is a really big threat. You have the planes that are still up from the Wesser that haven't quite died down yet. And as you can see, I'm spotted by them. Even though the Wesser is gone, he can still spot me. And I'm ticking down on the cap because I want to cap this. And then shots come in from off screen to my right, that right there, and they reset the cap. It's not so much as damage that they inflicted on me, which was bad. The fact that they had to reset the cap and make me have to stay in here for an additional 50 seconds is annoying, but the right play if you're on the red team. If you notice the score and if you notice the ship count, it's not looking good for us. So this cap is vital. We have to get this. There, the Dallas pops up, and he knows that I'm in here, so I have to throw torps at him and disengage. However, he is still relatively far away from me. The Fuso is also coming in to support him, and that's where we showcase shooting off all of our torps on both sides. 2 sets at the Dallas, 1 at the Fuso. We have a couple seconds left. We get the cap, and now we have to disengage. They're going to end up getting back into it, which is really unfortunate. Although getting a torpedo hit on the Dallas is great. He immediately damage cons it, which I knew he would. I can't really shoot at him right now. He's too much of a threat even at this range. His guns have high DPM, and there's a lot of them. He has 10 of them. And although they're a little on the floaty side, at this range, he would be able to devastate me and take me out, ruining any and all chances of us potentially winning this match. And I'm going to do a really good job of staying alive up until one point, which I will happily point it out to you. The Dallas and the Fuso are on it, and I was contemplating shooting at them to try and reset it, and I believe I do here. So I'm just waiting until the Dallas is not going to be able to shoot at me, and I take a shot at him, and then I immediately switch, and I shoot at the Fuso because I want to get at least some shell hits. And there we get some of the Dallas resetting 3 times, and then my other shells that are coming in hit the Fuso and reset him 3 times, so now the cap is fully reset. We take another shot at the very low health Zara, and he goes down, so yes, that was a bit of a yoink, but securing the kills, we need to start flipping this score as much as we possibly can. And here the destroyer pops up, and the T-61 is a really big threat, because if he has his sonar and smoke, he could wreck me without me being able to get too close, and I am just praying that I can gun him down before he disappears. And here he smokes up, and my fears are starting to become realized, and I'm spotted, and so now I'm having to close the distance, and we end up respotting him back and taking him out before he's able to do any real harm to us. The Dallas is not shooting at us, which is ideal, and we are going to take a shot at him because it's a free shot. Might as well take it. The action has been really furious and really good up to this point. We've been able to survive and take out 4 ships, but here I need to reassess and look at the wind condition. Like I said, after every engagement, try to look and see, okay, what do we need to do to win? Our battleship is on Charlie and has just flipped it. So now we not only have the cap control, 2 versus 1, our ships are now tied, and if you look at the score, in any second we are going to take the lead. So we have everything that we need to win this match right now, as long as we don't lose any more ships. The biggest threat is this Fiji, which we have covered in our British cruiser line video series. So I know how devastating his AP is. I know that at any one point, if he gets a good salvo off, I am done. And I realize that I have 4 kills, but we're in the lead. I don't need to engage him yet. So I'm just seeing that he is now turning in to go back towards Charlie Cap. And my situation is this. Do I shoot at him and try and gun him down? My HE is good against him. However, his AP, like we said, is devastating against us if he hits us. His shells do float a little bit. However, a really good cruiser captain can compensate for this, and I misjudged this guy's ability. So I take a shot at him because I realize he is turning in and potentially going to avoid these torpedoes. And his first salvo is all he's going to need. And he takes me out right there. And that ends our chances. And to make matters worse, we don't hit him with any of the torpedoes. So the absolute worst case scenario plays out. I potato, and after having such an amazing match thus far, I screw up. And here I'm just going to fast forward because the rest of it was so tough to watch. I was just like, I don't even want to see it anymore. I was so frustrated with myself at that point, having thrown the game so hard. Came on top of the leaderboard with 4 kills, but I felt like the Jervis on our team at the very bottom. I felt like I had completely ruined the game for the entire team. So I wanted to show this video for 2 reasons. One, I played it really well up until the point where I blew it. And another thing I wanted to showcase is that we're all human. We all make mistakes. And as much as I don't want to show the fallacies in my gameplay, it's just a reality of this game, and at the end of the day, it is just a game. Yes, we want to win. Yes, some of us are a lot more competitive than others, whereas I should be probably a little bit more laid back. I am on the more competitive side, and sometimes it comes out in the worst way, but overall, I want to have fun. And this game was fun, and it was entertaining, and there was a lot of action in it, and it really showcased how good the Mahan can be. So thank you for tuning in, captains. I appreciate you being here. Next, we're going to be showcasing the Benson, and that is going to be a spicy ship as well. So stick around. I'll try to do much better than I did with the Mahan. But until then, this is the USS Endeavor signing off.